What makes a good con man? Is it charisma, intelligence, or an ironclad nerve? All of these qualities and more come together in the case of Charles Ponzi. He was born in 1884 in the small town of Telluride in the state of Colorado. From an early age, Ponzi showed traits that made his future predictable. He was a liar, arrogant, and cunning. As a teenager, he skipped school, drove his father crazy, and didn't get along with his teachers. It's unlikely that his further life would have developed differently if he hadn't been caught stealing. After committing his first crime, Charles Ponzi was sent to a reformatory where he spent 2 years. That's where his adult life began. His further fate was decided. Ponzi's criminal career lasted from the 1920s to the 1930s. It left a legacy in the form of the world's most famous scam, which bears its name to this day. After leaving prison, Ponzi moved to Boston. With a new start, he created a company that specialized in coupon collecting. Ponzi saw an opportunity to make quick money when he noticed that coupons printed in Europe cost less than they did in the U.S. The idea was simple: buy discounted coupons abroad and resell them at face value in America for a profit. Unfortunately, this scheme didn't bring in much money. Ponzi needed something grander, something that would change everything. It happened in 1922 when he read about a postage stamp shortage in South America. An idea struck him. People needed stamps. Why not sell them something that didn't exist? At the time, many companies paid dividends in the form of coupons attached to letters or packages. This meant that if a person received a letter with a coupon instead of cash, they couldn't do anything with it, because they couldn't find an equivalent number of stamps to send the money back. This problem hit countries hard, especially those with low circulation of paper money like Chile and Bolivia. Charles Ponzi saw his chance. He placed ads offering to buy any foreign stamps at 15% above face value. His goal was to collect stamps, then sell coupons for amounts higher than their actual worth. People fell for it. Initially, Ponzi paid investors with profits from selling other people's stamps. However, this practice quickly stopped working as the demand for coupons far outstripped the supply of stamps. Then the genius move came. To keep the scheme going, Ponzi began paying investors with newly recruited members money. When the first participants asked to withdraw their earnings, they got their money. But they were unaware that it came from other investors, not from the sale of stamps. Thus, Charles Ponzi built a pyramid that continued to grow until it collapsed. The brilliant idea made him a millionaire within a few months. Everyone wanted to get a piece of the pie. However, it wasn't all smooth sailing. In mid-1920, newspapers started covering Ponzi's activities, calling it a financial chain letter. People began withdrawing money, but there wasn't enough to go around. It was the beginning of the end. On the night of November 10th, 1920, Charles Ponzi counted his money. There was $100,000, but that was nothing compared to what he was expecting. He had hoped to have $1 million. Disappointed, Ponzi went to bed. That night, the police raided his office and arrested him. The next day, the headline screamed, "The Millionaire Con Man." Ponzi was sentenced to 5 years in prison, but only served 3. It wasn't his last scam, though. After release, Ponzi tried to rebuild his life, but soon found himself back in prison for securities fraud. In 1934, he died believing he'd outwitted everyone, including the law, but his legacy remained. Now, bear with me for a moment. Do you see the connection between Ponzi's plan and the schemes of Victor Lustig, Gregor McGregor, Cassie Chadwick, and Joe Will? If you've caught on by now, you're smarter than most. You see, we live in a world where big events overshadow everything else. Wars, elections, terrorist attacks, and celebrity scandals dominate the news. But if you look closely, hidden among these grandiose tales are stories that paint a true picture of our times. Stories of innovation, bravery, and, yes, even scams. It's not that we don't know about Ponzi schemes. We do. It's just that scammers are constantly reinventing themselves. That's why it's important to step back and study the masters, understand their methods, and recognize their patterns. Knowing your enemy is half the battle, and when it comes to financial scams, knowledge is power. So stay sharp, keep learning, and be ready, because you never know when you might encounter a modern-day Ponzi. And if you spot the signs early, you can save yourself a lot of trouble. Remember, it's not just about financial losses. It's about staying vigilant and preserving our shared history from those who seek to tarnish it. Back in 1967, two detectives named William Riker and Steve Blass were about to take on a challenge that would put their skills and courage to the ultimate test. The task before them: catch the notorious con artist Frank Williams, aka the Gray Fox. This was no ordinary criminal. Williams had managed to fool even the best security forces in the game, all thanks to his talent for forgery. But Riker and Blass weren't intimidated. Armed with determination and the help of a federal agent named Peter Levitt, they embarked on a journey to bring Williams to justice. Their investigation led them through a tangled web of deceit and disguise, with Williams always staying one step ahead. But the determined detectives refused to give up. Through relentless pursuit and clever detective work, they finally cornered Williams in a small apartment in Miami Beach. It was a clear-cut case, and Williams was swiftly arrested. But as the detectives prepared to lead Williams out of the apartment, they noticed something strange. The suspect was calm, almost indifferent to his impending arrest. It was a puzzling demeanor that hinted at a secret the criminal mastermind was hiding. As they escorted Williams out of the building, the detectives couldn't shake off the feeling that there was more to the story than met the eye. Williams' nonchalance suggested a hidden depth to the man and his crimes. Little did they know that this case was about to take a shocking turn. During the interrogation, Williams casually mentioned something that sent a chill down the detectives' spines. "You're too late. The real mastermind behind all this is still out there, and he's already planning his next move." These words hung in the air, casting a long shadow of uncertainty and intrigue over the case. It was a revelation that shook the foundation of their investigation. The detectives felt a surge of urgency mixed with a growing sense of unease. They had apprehended a major player, but the realization that there was a more influential force orchestrating it all from the shadows spurred them on to dig deeper. Now, more than ever, they were eager to uncover the identity of the mastermind Williams had alluded to and bring them to justice. The detectives felt a sense of dread mixed with determination. They knew they had to find the mastermind before he could strike again. But their search turned up nothing. The mastermind seemed to be a ghost, slipping through their fingers. Months turned into years, yet the detectives never forgot the case. They kept digging, hoping to catch a break. Then, one day, a lead came in. A minor player from Williams' gang spilled the beans, revealing the name of the mastermind: Gregor McGregor. Now the hunt was on, but where to start looking for a man whose trail had gone cold decades ago? And, more importantly, would they find him before he pulled off his next audacious scam? The stakes were high, and the clock was ticking. We'll tell you more about the scammer McGregor in our next episode. See you soon. Bye.